Namaste. Welcome to this talk show on the very important topic of water. It is repeatedly being said that one of the most important reason for conflict in the world, in the future world, will be water. And here we have an ongoing conflict of very strategic importance to India in the form of Indus Water Treaty. To share some perspectives on this treaty and how we should see it in today's context, we have with us N Prasher ji. Prasher sir is a retired IAS officer. He served in the government of Haryana, including several portfolios that had. He was also the principal secretary in the irrigation department. Post-retirement, he has been an avid public thinker, columnist, and author. He has also been an advisor to the government of Haryana, the chief minister, for interstate disputes on water. So he is someone with a lot of interest and strategic insight into this treaty, and we'll take his opinion on how we should read this in today's context. So welcome to this show, sir, and thanks for giving us your time. I would like to start by asking you, what are the origins of the Indus Water Treaty and what were the objectives when it was signed?
The origin of the problem lay in the partition of India, and Pakistan. And this Indus system, all the rivers pass through India before they go to Pakistan, 3 of them. And Pakistan was naturally very apprehensive that they may have a problem. So there was a meeting in Delhi in May 1948, shortly after partition, when a lot of trouble was going on. In fact, in Kashmir also there was a lot of trouble. But even at that time, India agreed to have a meeting in Delhi. And in May 1948, an agreement was signed between Nehru and Ghulam Muhammad, then Prime Minister of Pakistan. Though it was all done at the request of Pakistan. And it was done at a time when Jinnah was still alive. So it means it had the blessings of Jinnah also.
Yeah.
Shortly thereafter, Pakistan abrogated the agreement, saying it was signed under duress. So we do not know whether Jinnah came under duress or what happened. But they started this process of not going by the agreement signed already. Then Pakistan had a lot of political noise about water issues. And there was a person who was friendly to Pakistan. And he was friendly to the president of the World Bank also. And he wrote a paper and gave it to the World Bank that basically defining whatever is in the treaty today, that 3 rivers should go to India and 3 to Pakistan. The World Bank proposed the draft treaty as early as February 1954. And in very next month, Nehru accepted it. In March 1954, Nehru accepted. I don't know what kind of examination was done, or because in almost a month, India conveyed. Pakistan kept making lot of noise, and then it took 6 years, and more than 6 years. And in September 60, finally, the treaty was signed at Karachi. So Nehru traveled to Karachi to sign this treaty. And in September 60, the treaty was signed. In October 60, just the next month, Ayub Khan, who had signed the treaty as Prime Minister, said he could not trust India till Kashmir issue is resolved. Within a month. But our Prime Minister, Nehru, the next month, that is in November 60, said that we have purchased peace. He made a statement in Parliament. So previous month, Ayub Khan had said that India cannot be trusted and they want Kashmir issue first. And our Prime Minister next month said we have purchased peace. Even Congress MPs were critical. They said the treaty is disadvantageous for India. So this viewpoint is not new. It started from day one.
Mm.
One of the Congress MPs said that the interest of India has been sacrificed to placate Pakistan in 1960, November 1960. Another MP, Ashok Mehta, said what we are saying today. He said it's very peculiar, he used the word, that Pakistan is not able to use all the water that we are giving it under the treaty, and this water will flow to the sea.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1960, he said that.
Mm-hmm.
So there was nothing hidden. It was very visible that the treaty was bad for India and water will be wasted. But somehow our government of the day went ahead. In fact, there is a very interesting episode. There was a person, N.D. Gulati. He led the team for negotiations for the treaty. And he recalls that in February 61, that is basically 4 or 5 months after the treaty was signed, Nehru said that it was a mistake and we are where we were. These were the words said by Gulati from Nehru's mouth, that we are where we were because the problems are continuing, and I thought problems will be solved after this. So there was a problem. Now, coming to the provisions of the treaty, why all the MPs said it's bad for India and water will go waste. Obviously, India is a much bigger country. But we got only 20% of the total water of the 6 rivers. India, a large country, got only 20%. And Pakistan got 80%. Now, somebody may say Pakistan was more dependent on these rivers and India has other river systems. Pakistan has only Indus system. These arguments have been given. But then when you check the facts, we find that it's not so.
Okay.
Because the area which depended on the Indus system in India was more than 46 MAF, million acre feet, while India was given 32.8 MAF.
Okay.
So we were given 13 to 14 MAF less than what that area required. On the other hand, the area of Pakistan, which depended on Indus system, was 50 MAF, 50. And against 50, Pakistan was given 135 MAF. So that's why these MPs said that they can't even use this water. And perhaps those who drafted and signed the treaty also recognized that Pakistan will not be able to use. So there's a provision in the treaty that Pakistan does not have adequate system to use this water. And so India agreed to give 62 million pounds to Pakistan. So we gave 80% of the water and
plus
62 million at that time in 1960. So if we work out the current value of that money, it is 40,000 crores.
Wow.
So in today's money, we gave them 14,000 crore rupees because recognizing they don't have enough infrastructure to use that water, to build that infrastructure, and not recognizing that they don't need this water. And subsequent events showed that how everything was so wrong, that today the areas of Pakistan which are served by this system are suffering waterlogging. They are waterlogged. There is problem of salinity there. And a minimum of 20 MAF flows to the sea every year. So, and to put it in context, the dispute between Haryana and Punjab is for 2 MAF.
Okay.
While 20 MAF of this system is flowing to the sea.
Yeah.
So this shows how short-sighted the whole thing was at that time.
So you're suggesting that there is some kind of an inherent inequity. There's a disproportionate allocation that was, right?
Yes, and in fact, some of the people who negotiated the treaty are on record saying that there were hardly any studies and we did not have much time, though they had 6 years, 54 to 60. And so the whole thing was done without considering accurate data. People do say, but I think even without considering accurate data, common sense would perhaps dictate that, because the revenue records in the two countries, Pakistan, India, in Punjab region, were so accurate that we knew what was irrigated area, canal irrigated area, and canal department was a very powerful department in British times. You might know that this department was the first to create rest houses and the first to create a telegraph. It was called canal wire. So we knew how much area was irrigated in Pakistan and how much in Punjab and Haryana, at that time Punjab only. So I think there was some kind of an indecent hurry to placate Pakistan, and that resulted in this situation.
Okay, you have studied economics and you presented a very good summary of how the economic foundation of this treaty is quite imbalanced and unfounded rather. But I also, because you've also studied law, I want you to highlight the legal basis of signing this treaty, because you have pointed out in the past that the ground on which this was signed is shaky.
Yes, there are several legal issues with this treaty. 3 people signed it: Nehru, Ayub Khan, and there was an observer of the World Bank. So his signatures, he was not a party to the treaty. He was only an observer. Now, under the law of contract, if an agreement is signed between, say, 3 parties, and there is a 4th necessary party to the treaty agreement, and he's not involved, then the agreement between these 3 is invalid. Naturally, somebody very necessary, you keep him in the dark and come to an agreement between yourself and then try to enforce it against him. It will not work out. So now, who were the 3 necessary parties to this treaty? There was India, there was Pakistan, and there was so-called Azad Kashmir.
Okay.
Now, Pakistan has been saying continuously that what we call Pakistan occupied Kashmir, a part of that, rest of it, Pakistan has merged it with Pakistan, the Gilgit-Baltistan, everything they have merged with Pakistan. A very small part is called Azad Kashmir by then. We call POK much larger part. So Pakistan has been saying that this is independent in the true sense, to the extent that they have a parliament, they have a prime minister, they have a president, they have a constitution, they have a high court, they have a Supreme Court. So they say all the infrastructure of democracy is there, and it's an independent country. So the legal question is, who signed on behalf of
Azad
this
Kashmir.
part?
Okay.
What they call Azad Kashmir. Who signed on behalf of this?
Okay.
Now, if Pakistan says Nehru's signatures include that, then we are very comfortable. We'll never say that. That's what we have been saying. Yes, that is our part, and Nehru represented it, but they don't accept that. If they say Ayub Khan's signatures represented, then the question of Azadi and Azad Kashmir is gone. So this question has been kept silent.
Okay.
Of course, there is a provision in the treaty that this treaty will have no bearing on the territorial claims of the respective parties.
Okay.
But we're not talking of territorial claim. We're talking of legality of the treaty.
Of the treaty, yes.
That region, so-called Azad Kashmir, is an essential party. Rivers pass through that part first and then go to Pakistan. So that area will have a say in how much will be given to that part and how much will go to Pakistan. That was not done. And in fact, Kashmir's, the occupied Kashmir's irrigation needs have been very sorely neglected by Pakistan.
Okay.
It's virtually an unirrigated area. Very small percentage of it is irrigated.
Okay.
They even built a dam there, which has not Mangla Dam, which has not been filled till
Okay.
today.
Okay.
Because they want to take the entire water to Punjab. Punjab is their favorite area, and they want to take all the water. So Kashmir has been shortchanged. Even the occupied Kashmir has been shortchanged in this treaty. And interestingly, even our occupied Kashmir, our controlled Kashmir, India, which is part of India, uh, they are objecting to this treaty.
Okay.
In April 2002, there was a debate in Kashmir Legislative Assembly where people from all the parties, Congress, National Conference, even CPI-M, I mean, one would expect perhaps communists not to speak with them, but even they, all of them said that this treaty is very harmful for Kashmir and it should be reviewed. So it's not only India minus Kashmir which is saying this,
Right.
it is Kashmir itself which is demanding the review, and they have a very valid reason because Kashmir has so much hydropower resource and it is perennially short of power.
Right.
Kashmir is perennially short of power because whenever we try to build a hydro project, non-consumptive use, hydropower is non-consumptive use, which is permitted under the treaty on the 3 western rivers also. Pakistan drags us to some legal procedure. So this is one thing that necessary party has not signed.
Okay.
But there's another legal issue which I would like to highlight, that if you see the preamble of the treaty. Now, preamble of a legal document is very important. In the context of the Constitution, the Supreme Court said that preamble is the part of the basic structure of the Constitution.
Yeah.
And if any law is in violation of the preamble, it will be ultra virus of the Constitution.
Correct.
So preamble determines really the foundation of any document. Now, what does the preamble say? This treaty is for attaining the most complete and satisfactory utilization of the waters of the system. And what are you doing? Throwing them in the sea.
Wasting. Yeah.
So preamble is being violated for the last more than 70 years.
Right.
Then preamble says that this is being done in a spirit of goodwill and friendship. We know how much goodwill and friendship Pakistan has shown because their prime ministers have been saying that India will be bled by 1,000 cuts, that they will fight a 1,000-year war against India. They have been giving threats of nuclear war. And one of their former presidents, Pervez Musharraf, admitted before the press that the Mujahideens were their heroes. Now, is this the spirit of goodwill and friendship mentioned in the preamble?
The treaty. Yeah.
Then it further says, making provision for settlement in a cooperative spirit of all questions. Of all questions. Where is that cooperative spirit? It's never been coming. As I said, you sign an agreement, abrogate it. You sign the treaty, next day you say that you cannot trust us till Kashmir question is resolved. And you do some of these things when the founder of your nation was still alive and was controlling the country. So say that the founder of the nation, Jinnah, had no say in the affairs of the country. You can say that if you want to. So this is another legal issue, that the preamble has been continuously violated and therefore the treaty cannot stand. Now, some people say that there is no war. That, okay, international law and treaty says that if there are hostilities between two countries, treaties can be suspended, but there is no war. But then a legal opinion on this, which was published in American Journal of International Law in 1972, it says covert hostilities can seriously threaten the victim, and same policy should apply as apply to conventional conflict situations.
Okay.
This is the recognized legal position that war perhaps it's harmful, but not so much as proxy wars,
Proxy wars.
covert conflicts, because you don't know from where it will come. It has a bigger element of surprise. War is a declared war. You have less surprise. So this was in the context of a problem in the USA, and the Attorney General advised the then President Roosevelt, that when such things happen, such unpredictable things happen, the fundamental character of the change in conditions underlying the treaty goes away, and then we are free to declare the treaty inoperative or to suspend it.
Okay.
So people who say that there is no provision for such action, this has been recognized in law, that if you have a treaty with someone and the going is not good, and then the country is threatening you with 1,000-year war and 1,000 cuts, you can jolly well suspend this treaty. Some people say that it will be too big a thing and we can't do it. There's no provision. Now, there is a UN convention on international treaties.
Yes.
And it's Article 60, sub Article 1 says, material breach by one of the parties entitles the other to revoke or suspend in whole or in part. So you can suspend even a part of the treaty under the UN Convention on such treaties. And then the sub-article 3 of Article 60 further specifies what is material breach. It says it's violation of provisions essential to accomplishment of object or purpose. And what was the provision essential to object or purpose? To make optimal use of this water.
Of the water. Yes.
To do it in a spirit of friendship and cooperation.
Yes.
And that cannot be served. So there is enough legal ground to abrogate the treaty if India wants, to suspend the treaty if India wants, or to suspend a part of the treaty.
Part of the treaty. Okay.
Yes.
So recently, the government of India made a statement that they would like to have an amendment. Are there any specific details available to this amendment? And is this a way towards abrogating the treaty?
That the recent statement of government of India has arisen from the fact that Pakistan has been obstructing the non-consumptive use which is permitted under the treaty by India by making hydro projects. So India still went along, and according to the treaty, they went to neutral experts wherever required. And by the way, so far whatever decisions have come in favor of India in various projects, which means that Pakistan is doing malicious litigation. And so it contradicts the spirit of friendship and cooperation.
Right.
I mean, they should cooperate rather than do this malicious litigation. So now Pakistan has gone a step forward. It demanded reference to a neutral expert. And before that proceeding could be over, it withdrew that request and filed a request for arbitration. Now, the provision in the treaty is sequential. You ask for a neutral expert. If you're not satisfied, then thereafter do this. So India has pointed out in so many words that this is not part of the treaty. You can't do two things simultaneously. And this will be one thing we would certainly like to be made very clear in the treaty, though it is that it's sequential, but still. Moreover, as I said, the treaty is very, very inequitable. It has technical flaws, it has legal flaws. And once it is revised, then those flaws can be addressed by all the parties. And the question of so-called Azad Kashmir will also have to be faced by Pakistan on this. Now, there is a very important aspect of this discussion whenever it takes place. People say that you cannot stop water from going to Pakistan. It's true. A river flows and you can't stop it. You can make storage, it will be filled, then you'll have to release it. So there's no point in talking. In fact, for the first time, our Prime Minister, I think it was in 2016, that he said our share of water will not go to Pakistan, because the fact is that the previous governments could not do even this, that at least our share should be utilized in the country. Part of the water is flowing to Pakistan even today, which falls entirely to our share of the eastern rivers. And the press said that Prime Minister said not a drop will be allowed to go to Pakistan. So they distort it like this. Their understanding is whenever you say that we will retain more water means you will block the river. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. There are ways and ways of doing it. And preventing that 20 AMF from going to sea. So one thing India can say easily, that till Pakistan can ensure that water will not go to sea in large quantity, minor quantities may go. We'll be free to use that difference. Now 20 MF going to sea, and out of that 10 MF being used by India, any sensible person will say, well, you can use 20, let India use 10.
Right.
What's wrong? And how to use it? You know that between Manali and Lahaul Valley, there is Rohtang Pass. And we have made a road tunnel recently under the Rohtang Pass. And on the other side of the Rohtang Pass is Chandra River, which is subsequently a short distance ahead at a place called Tandi. It is joined by Bhaga River. And then it becomes Chandrabhaga, which is Chenab. Chenab is actually Chandrabhaga. So these Chandra and Bhaga create Chenab. So this tunnel, road tunnel, exits in Lahore Valley very close to the river, near the river. And it's a very big tunnel. Now suppose we make such a tunnel for water also and divert part of Chandra water to Manali side under the Rohtang Pass. Now the point at which this tunnel will emerge on Manali side will have a good fall of about 3,000 feet before it meets Vyas River. And you can have 3 power projects of 1,000 feet head each, which is a lot of head. And generally greater than that is not used. You can generate a lot of power. Then this water will come into Vyas River. And then finally, it will be part of Satluj Vyas Link project, BSL project, where again it will generate power. At a place called Slapad, where BSL generates power, and then finally it comes to Bhakhra system. Satluj comes there, and then it will generate power in the Bhakhra system also. So at 3 places it will generate power. A lot of power will be generated, and since it comes the Satluj system, it will come to Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Delhi, and whatever minor disputes they have, they can be easily sorted. As I said, Punjab, Haryana have been fighting over only 2 MAF. So while this is more water, and what does Pakistan lose? That instead of 20 MAF going to sea, maybe 15 MAF will go to sea. So 5 MAF will not go. So this, I think, is a very common sense thing. So while India should suspend the treaty, during that period, we should make this project.
Have there been any studies or plans around this very interesting idea that you're giving?
No, in fact, Government of India, the previous government, has been very wary of touching this issue for their own reasons. When I was Principal Secretary Irrigation, in that capacity, I was a member of the Bhakhra Vyas Management Board. And we passed a unanimous resolution, which is rare because Punjab, Haryana both are there. We keep fighting there. That in the Indus Water Treaty, Satluj is the most important river given to India. The other two Ravi Bias being smaller ones. And there were news that China is fiddling with our river systems. They've done with Brahmaputra. So we passed a resolution that if China fiddles with Satluj, then the equity of the Indus Water Treaty will be lost.
Lost, right.
And therefore, government of India should put Pakistan on notice that if that situation comes, we'll not feel bound by the Indus Water
by the treaty.
We'll make good our laws from the other three rivers.
Right.
So we passed this resolution unanimously.
Okay.
Sent it to Government of India. Our Chief Minister also wrote a letter to Government of India. But they refused to touch this subject. They did nothing. And we hope the present government will consider it, because Pakistan has some leverage with China. Once Pakistan says that they will be harmed if China touches Satluj, then in all likelihood, China will not touch Satluj.
Right.
So this was, and we were not harming anyone. We are only putting on notice. So I think that should be done. And we should ensure, while we suspend the treaty, or at least a part of it, we can only suspend that part where the shares are there, put a sub-clause there, ask for a sub-clause there, that as long as Pakistan is not able to use its share of water, India will be free to use it. Very, very, I think, equitable thing.
Yeah, very reasonable.
During that period, we made this project under Rotang and any other such projects which can give us some advantage without reducing the share of Pakistan, which is not being used. I mean, so we use only that water which is not being used by Pakistan. So, and there's an interesting provision in law, in all laws, that something which ought not to be done, if it is done, it cannot be undone. And I'll give you the example of child marriage. In the prohibition of child marriage law, once two children are married and they start living together, the parents may be punished, but the marriage is not null and void. Marriage, no court will nullify the marriage. Marriage continues. So while we suspend a part of the treaty demanding an addition to it, we should make these projects, sort out our problems. As I said, Pakistan had a requirement of 50 MAF, got 135. I mean, it doesn't make sense at all. So instead of 135, they get, say, 120 against the requirement of 50. Still, it will remain inequitable, but okay. I mean, when you deal with the devil, you can't get justice always. But this is what I think should be done.
So you have yourself handled interstate disputes. You represented Haryana, even at the Supreme Court in the dispute between Haryana and Punjab, and the Supreme Court asked you around 650 questions over a period of 11 months. So you have a lot of experience in legally handling such disputes, and you've provided some very interesting opinion, the legal opinion and the governance opinion around how do we make use of this water and modify or amend the treaty to our favor. What do you think should be our objective with this whole treaty? Should we target abrogation, or should we target an amendment? And what would be your what would be the future course of action as per you?
I would say we stick to the statement in the preamble of the treaty, and that should be our goal. We don't want to hurt Pakistan. It's a neighboring country, and you don't choose neighbors. God gives you neighbors. So you have to live with them. The preamble says attaining the most complete and satisfactory utilization of the waters of the system. That should be our goal. Today it is not.
Mhm.
Not only that lot of water is going to sea, the irrigation efficiency in Pakistan is 1/3 of that of India.
Okay.
We should even perhaps give technical assistance to that country to improve its irrigation efficiency.
Mhm. Mhm.
The per unit of water production in India is much higher than that in Pakistan.
Okay.
So first they use 3 times more water, then they produce 3 times less.
Yeah.
So it's not India's loss. It is not Pakistan's loss. It is the planet's loss.
That's lost. Yeah.
Water is a crisis.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the world is facing the biggest crisis today of water.
Water. Correct.
Human beings can neither create water nor destroy water.
Hmm.
There is a water balance in the world.
Hmm.
The total amount of water remains the same.
Same.
We can convert good water into bad water or bad water into good water, but we can't create or destroy
Create.
it.
Yeah.
So given that water is a commodity, the quantity of which is beyond us, is virtually divine,
Right.
our goal should be that it is not wasted.
Right.
Let Pakistan use, instead of 50 MAF, which is their need today, let them use 60, 70, 80, 90 and produce food.
Yes.
Because if they produce more food today, they are not producing food for themselves. They are
And
dependent
they're in
on
a crisis. Yeah.
Yeah. So let them produce food with that water
Yeah.
and share with the rest of the world if it is surplus. But meanwhile, let us produce more food with that water. After all, in India also, less than 50% is irrigated area.
Yes.
India's irrigated area is less than 50% when Pakistan is throwing water in the sea. So our goal should be to convince the world that we are not snatching what they are using. We are taking away temporarily even what they are wasting. And it's not always for the governments. Water is a need of the people.
People.
I'm surprised that the civil society in India is quiet about it.
I think even there's a lack of awareness on this whole issue.
We saw Aman Ki Asha being carried on with Pakistan, which came to naught. But do not waste water. Let our civil society say. Do not waste water. Let us use it till you can use it. And tell us how much you can use. You are at 50. You will not reach 135 in a short time. At that time, we gave you $62 million, which is 40,000 crores in today's money.
Yeah.
Even now, we may give them. Improve your efficiency, but let us use it. In fact, somebody suggested that Pakistan is perennially short of electricity also. Okay. When this project under the Rohtang Pass will produce massive amount of electricity at 3 points, we can tell Pakistan, we'll give you some of this electricity.
Yeah, we can sell it to
this
them.
power. And let's use a few MAF out of it, which we can put to great use. Rajasthan still needs more water.
Okay.
There's the Rajasthan Canal, which is part of the Bhakra system, and it transformed Ganganagar. Ganganagar is like Punjab. Now that water through various canals has reached up to Badmer, but the quantity is very small. Water is not available. So if this water goes into Jaisalmer, Badmer, Jodhpur, we can produce a lot of food. Why the world is being, food is not for you or me or India or Pakistan. Food is for the world. Why the world is being deprived of food when there is famine in Ethiopia and various parts of Africa? We have surplus food, prices will fall, it will become affordable. So civil society should take this goal that this is not a question of dispute with Pakistan. It's a question of stopping the wastage of
wastage.
That should be the goal.
Very rightly said. And I think, I hope that this dialogue with you will help raise awareness among people on this issue. I was not aware of a lot of things that you pointed out. And I think just like me, many more people would be very keen to listen these insights, and through that a civil society movement might rise up to make the just use of water, as you pointed out. Thanks a lot, Prasher sir. I think you covered a wide range of issues starting from the very inherent inequitable distribution in the treaty to the way the ground on which it was signed is shaky when one person is missing as a signatory, to the kind of projects that we should be doing on our end to increase our hydropower output, and to the legal and international law opinion on such treaties. Thanks a lot for covering this ground and encouraging us once more, and making us aware once more about the issue of water crisis and how we must take every step to ensure that we do not waste water, because the amount of water in the planet is limited. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Safa.
so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.